Welcome to the Crypto Traders Podcast, simplifying cryptocurrency for traders and investors around the world. Subscribe for interviews with developers, market updates, and a professional look at the future of money. You've come to trust Matthew and Kurt to filter out the noise across social media. Now you can listen on the go. Without further ado, here's the Crypto Traders Podcast.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Crypto Traders Podcast. I am Kurt Wooker Jr. here with Matthew John, and we talked to Chinggis X from the Trading Room app, tradingroom.io, which is a price action indicator scanner, a price action scanner to allow you to just kind of take a glance, see what the action is, and use that to build your watch list rather than how you would typically do it, which is spending hours and hours scanning the charts manually, which Matt actually has a fantastic video on if you want to sit and watch how Matt was making his watch lists previously. Man, we talked about everything with Chinggis, man. What did you take away from that? What if you were to bullet point it? What do you think, Matt?
So Chinggis is a really interesting guy. I've watched a couple. He has his own YouTube. He is a part of the Trading Room app team and the educational guy behind the Trading Room app. So the Trading Room app is a cryptocurrency trading scanner that breaks down the trends of the 5-minute all the way to the daily charts and kind of organize it between red and green boxes to indicate if it's trending up or it's trending down in price over all the time frames. So you guys should go check out the scanner. We dig into that a lot. You guys will get to learn how to use that and some of the other scanners that they're building, the RSI scanner. There's a moving average scanner, a few of these that are going to allow us to save a lot of time looking for good trading setups because we're going to get the alerts right through the scanner. So it's a totally free product right now. Nothing's paid here. But they're just starting to roll this out to the crypto trading community, and I'm really excited to start using this.
Yeah, so it was a really good podcast. We went about an hour and a half. We covered, I think, everything, all the different indicators, how to use the tools, what his background was, how he got into crypto, how he got into trading. We talked about the bull market, how to survive the bears, and a whole bunch of stuff. So we hope you really enjoy the podcast. Remember, please subscribe. Subscribe on YouTube. If you want to listen to just audio, you can find us on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, Google, Amazon, and everywhere else where stuff is consumed in the podcast universe. So please tune in, listen attentively. It's a good one. Thanks, guys. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Crypto Traders Podcast. I am Kurt Wooker Jr. here with Matthew John doing our weekly or sometimes multiple times weekly podcast to teach you everything you need to know about cryptocurrency, trading fundamentals, culture, and everything else. And we are pleased to be joined by Chinggis X from everywhere around social media. How are you doing, Chinggis?
I'm doing very well. Thank you, Kurt. Thank you, Matthew.
For sure. Good to have you. Let's start with some basics. Where are you based? What's your background?
Well, hometown is Jersey. From Jersey, I've been to some places. So I was in Florida, I was in California, I was in Tennessee, back to Jersey a few times, and now I'm in Austin. But we'll be leaving here in a few months, and we're looking at North Carolina is the next stop.
Fascinating. It's a good time to be in Austin. I'm in Chicago, Matt's in Detroit, and we have we've experienced the worst weather literally in the world for about 2 weeks ago. It was about 50 degrees below zero. And literally everything froze.
Yeah. I saw polar vortex and TV off.
It was real, but I have huge cracks in my walls in my house. I mean, the whole house was twisting. So really bad news. I'm a little worried about what the roof did, and we'll find out in the spring, I guess.
Yeah, we should never be seeing negative anything, let alone negative 50.
Yeah, no.
I mean, I was hearing on the news here in Austin, they were saying negative 70s over in the Midwest. I said, you gotta be kidding. You can't, like, we weren't built for negative 70.
No, it was bad. It was worse here than it was in the North Pole and on the top of Mount Everest. So by quite a bit, actually. So,
well, that's wrong. It's not the way things are supposed to work.
Yep. No, 100%. But now, maybe not. Markets could be heating up. I keep seeing some of our perennial favorites maybe deciding if they're going to break out or fake out. But
there's been some moves lately. Over the last few weeks, we were lucky enough to see some big moves on some of the bigger heavy hitters. ETH moved pretty well. Tron moved pretty well. BNB is
defying gravity.
So on its BTC pair, it's breaking all-time highs. So I mean, it's doing well. Yeah, things are still suspect. Like you can't really pull the pin on which one is next, but I feel like something's next.
Sure. I agree. I don't think the wise hedge funders I don't think are closing their shorts just yet, but yeah, the swing traders 100%. There's plays to play.
Yeah.
What's your background in trading? How'd you get into trading or technical analysis?
Well, for me, I started I guess 2 years ago now, and I was getting into crypto, trying to figure out what it was all about, and it was all very confusing at the time. Years and years and years ago, I'm a big tech junkie, so
yeah,
I was reading about Bitcoin back in 2010, still didn't know what it was and just sort of forgot about it. And it finally grabbed my attention. I said, okay, as someone who likes to make those investments or that kind of wild market, I said, I need to start getting into this. Now, I've traded stocks and I've done some options, but very little. And I wouldn't even consider myself a trader years ago. But once I got in, and it was late 17, and, you wrote a little bit of the bull up, and then everything we all know the story, right? So, it was a double-edged sword, but it was a blessing in disguise. I mean, I got hammered, but it forced me to learn. I needed to know how I could prevent that from happening next time, and I needed to know how I can move forward. Right. So with what was left, I had to, make some moves and make some sacrifices, but I had to develop a sense of what is technical analysis, what can give me an edge, what are all these people looking at that are making good calls. Everybody can't be a genius, right? So there has to be something to it, and that just put my nose in the books, and I still haven't picked them back up. my nose is just in the book, man. I try to learn something new every day as I can, and what I learn and what I master, I'll teach, and I'll try to prevent that nightmare situation from happening to somebody else.
Absolutely.
What do you think your biggest takeaway was from experiencing that first bear market? You said you just got in late 2017, so you kind of walked right into that bear market. What was your biggest takeaway from that?
Well, we talked about HODL before and how much I disagree with it. That concept of allowing something to just die in front of you with doing nothing about it.
With your money, no less.
It really, it really resonates. I don't know what the equivalent analogy is, but you're literally just watching something lose value in front of you on a daily basis, and the emotional attachment to not sell it at that 60% loss, and now the 70% loss, and now the 80% loss, and now the 95% loss. That's probably my biggest takeaway is trading, from what I've understood and from what I've learned, is only half the battle. I mean, it's, you could TA till your eyes are blue and everything could say yes, yes, yes. And you may even be right. Sometimes you may be wrong, but you need to get over the emotional hiccup of trading. Like, you really need some type of mindset, like a machine. You just need to get in the trade, get out of the trade, and just have zero attachment to what is actually happening outside of it, so that when your stop loss is set and it gets hit, you're out and you just move on to the next trade. There's thousands of trades on a daily basis, whether you're a 1 to 5 scalper or you're doing multi-week swings. I mean, there's trades out there, and if not in this market, you can apply them to Forex or traditionals or options, futures. I mean, there's markets out there for traders. So that was probably my biggest thing, was trying to get over this emotional thing of walking right into the bear market. just walking into the top and just getting slapped across the face and saying, all right, well, you better wake up and do something about this. And, I made the mistake. I let a lot of them bleed, and
Right.
I had to learn that. So that's my biggest takeaway was the emotional attachment. It's just it's not unnecessary for traders. It is a killer for traders,
Right.
in my opinion.
Well, having that emotional attachment and talking about emotions, why, since you started reading about Bitcoin early in 2010, why did you feel the urge to want to buy in late 2017?
Well, those are the emotions, right? So when it was just me and my tech magazines and learning about what cryptography was and what Nakamoto was trying to introduce, it was just a fairy tale concept, many of which I've seen, throughout the years. I mean, I'm pushing 40, right? So I've been around, tech when we had the tech bubble.
Sure.
I was still, growing through that. I was playing with computers in '93 and ripping them apart. So I've heard the dreams and I've seen them come and seen them go. And so when I read about it, I wasn't really intrigued. It didn't grab my attention as this is anything different than any one of the other thousands of dreams I've heard in the last 10 years or 20 years. But when my friends started talking about it, when my non-tech friends started investing in it, well, then I said, well, maybe I'm doing something wrong. Maybe
Sure.
I got to take another look at this, because if these are the guys that usually come to me for tech information and they're saying, hey, I just talked to this guy for the last 5 hours and I'm throwing, a couple $100 into it. I said, well, what am I doing wrong? You know what I mean? If I don't know what's going on, there's a problem. So yeah, that was, going back to what you said, Matt, with the emotion. Yeah. I mean, that's the FOMO, right? That's right there is I didn't want to miss out. I didn't want to miss out on what could have been. And for some people was an absolutely life-changing months. I mean, 2 months,
absolutely.
really. I mean,
Yeah.
if you broke it down, really 1 month, from mid-November to December 15th was this
Did very well.
parabolic rise where, some of these guys back in, 9, 10, 11, they were picking it up for, 30 cents, 60
Sure.
cents, $1.50. I mean, people were mining. I mean, how much were they pulling in a day mining? How many coins were they getting just mining? It was an unbelievable
Yeah,
amount.
Bitcoin. The first it was 50 Bitcoins every 10 minutes if you were mining on your laptop.
So, do the math. I mean, it really did impact a lot of people. And I am, unfortunately, I wasn't one of them, but I am eternally grateful that did happen. You know what I mean? That moment, right, was seized at the absolute perfect time for those people. And as long as they sold near the top, hopefully they didn't hold it all the way down to today. But,
All right.
that's life-changing. And this market can do that. And those were the conversations that I was having before I got in. And that's what it was. It was this crazy surge of the dreams or the possibilities of having a changed life for the better. And then on top of that, like I said, I'm a tech junkie. So it was ridiculously complicated tech at the time. Now it's much simplified. I understand it. Now it makes perfect sense. But at the time, I just didn't get it. And I needed to understand what it was. So for me to really put my heart into it, I threw some money on the line, said, all right, well, now I'm forced to learn about it.
Sure. So when you trade, and I tell everybody, have a goal, right? For the bear market, that should be capital preservation, I think, conceptually. But for a lot of people, I mean, I know people that are like, man, I only trade Ethereum pairs because I'm trying to stack up Ethereum. So what do you aim for? Are you trying to stack a coin or a couple of coins, or are you just trying to preserve capital?
I guess that when I started the bear market, or I guess when I started learning about trading, so very early into 18 at that point, it didn't take very long. My idea was to stack sats, right? The idea was, what do I think will still be here, will still be around, and will still be relevant in, let's just say, 5 years. I'll give my 3 to 5 year window. And so my conclusion, as many others, was Bitcoin will still be the father, whether it holds its place like it currently has for the last 10 years, or whether it shifts back and forth, that remains to be seen. And those adjustments can be made on the fly. You'll have plenty of time to realize things are changing. But at the moment, it was let's just stack sats. So let's trade alts to get more Bitcoin. Let's long and short Bitcoin to get more Bitcoin.
Sure.
And irrelevant, whatever the word is, not relevant to the price at the time.
Sure.
It didn't matter. It didn't matter if Bitcoin was 14,000 or if it was 8,000 or if it was 6,500. It didn't make any difference. The idea was trade to accumulate more Satoshis.
Right.
And at the end of the day, we're hopeful that the price does return to a level where those sats would then be worth more.
Right.
So that was my main goal. Today, the goal is still very much the same, but I've since learned about risk management and capital preservation, and have now tried to make trades and take a portion off the table. On top of stacking sats. So it's a bit of both, but it is finally, like a trader would say, realizing profits. You haven't made anything until you've taken it off the exchange.
Right.
So that's been the goal now, is sort of incorporate that in a bit of a Y split, a little bit over here and a little bit for playing the game,
I think that's wise. Yeah.
I think, a lot of people got stuck in the hold because in early 2018, there was a lot of FUD surrounding Tether. And we didn't have a lot of these options that we have today, like all the other stable coins. So people really only had Tether, cash out completely, or hold your value in crypto. And so many people were scared to put their money in Tether that they held the Bitcoin or the Litecoin or whatever coin it was, and then it just dropped in value. So
then we see these other $300.
But we've seen these other stable coins come out now, and we have some more options, and it gives people a little bit more trust.
The issue with Tether, for me, the personal issue with Tether was the audits. And I just wanted to see that the exchanges had a 1-for-1 on it, if just in case, all hell breaks loose. And we never got that. I still think to the day we never got that. And so I was always suspect about that. If it was just a matter of flashing a balance in a bank account, I couldn't for the life of me understand what the problem was. But as new stable coins came out, they were running those checks and running those balances before ever releasing. So I felt better about those. But the adoption for them has been very slow. Now, Tether is synonymous with a 1-to-1 relationship. And that's what houses the most pairings. And that's what you'll find on the most exchanges. That's where you'll find history on the charts. So, Tether, for better or worse, has just become the stable coin. Is it the best stable coin for us at the moment? I can't answer that question. I personally have used it, but I always had that weird, should I be doing this?
When's this going to drop to zero? Right.
Everybody else says it's okay, so I guess it must be okay, and then Cryptopia. So everybody says the exchange is okay until it's gone. But so with the addition of the new stable coins, I think if adoption grows with that, and they do become at least a place where you can have additional trading pairs, then that'll eliminate what you were talking about, Matt. I mean, the options were limited. You're either going to cash out, and there you go. It's another taxable event, just like every trade, I guess. But you're out of the market, at which becomes more difficult to get back in. It's a little bit of a hurdle. There's a delay. If you want to just press the button and be in the trade, you can't. You get to go things.
Well, and your bank can seize your account, which we've been known to happen. Withdrawing a large amount through Coinbase, Chase doesn't seem to like people that do that.
There's problems involved, and you know what? It's an emerging market. We're still, no matter what anybody says, I mean, we're still the guinea pigs. We're still in the very beginning of this thing. So anybody that is here today, or anybody that's been here for the last few years and has gone through the 14-15 market and the now, 18-19 market, I think we're staying. I mean, we're not shook. So we're used to having 5 or 6 different wallets on the computer, having to, memorize key phrases and write things down and store them in different, like, we're used to all the stuff that the mainstream would never deal with.
Right.
The mainstream wants to press one button and just make something work. They don't care if it has a development team behind it. They don't care fundamentally.
Right. They don't know.
They want it to work. They want it to go to the store and buy something. They don't care if it's cash, change, credit card, debt, whatever. Just as long as they leave with the product, that's fine. But they're not going to sit there and wait 10 minutes for a transaction to confirm. You know what I mean? But in the beginning stage, we will, because we want to see it work.
Right.
So
it's part of the fun.
It really is. But, a lot of people take anything that you're not familiar with and look at the finished product. Imagine that product 3 years in development before you ever laid eyes on it.
Yeah.
Probably a nightmare. Nothing works. Everything like that, nothing works. Well, now it works. It's been polished. So, we're the gremlins inside the machine, finding all the problems and saying, hey, who out there can make this better? Who out there can do this better so that everybody out there can use it?
Right. So that leads to, let's get into what you do. Matt showed me this. I had no idea about your product, but Matt showed us your project, the Trading Room app, or right now the site, but I think the app is coming. But
yeah, correct.
Showed it to me, and we shared it a little bit around our group. And some people are a little bit like, okay, red and green squares, but Matt's been explaining it to me, and I think it's very cool. But I should probably hand it over to Matt to ask some specific questions about it.
Yeah, bring it on.
Let's hear.
Well, first of all, I'm curious how a lot of people know Trading Room app on Twitter. He came up in, I think, 2018. He kind of grew that brand during what was the bear market. Not a lot of people were able to do that, but he's been known for really high quality content and interacting with the community, helping people out. And now you're working with them as kind of that lead educator, doing some YouTube videos. I've seen some of your YouTube videos. They were really good.
Thank you.
What is your role behind Trading Room app, and where are you guys looking to take this?
Well, so I would suppose my role currently is education. So as a new module comes out and people are looking at it and they're confused about it and they're not exactly sure what it means, I just try to get them all the information they could need about it, how to use it properly, what to look for, how could it be, your best asset. And then we take it a step further and try to do some of the background information on that. So the first module was price action scanner, where we had a live Fibbo up there that you could, change the date periods around and say, well, I want 7 days of trading. Show me where we peaked and how far we've retraced. So a lot of people didn't understand Fibonacci. So we ended up doing an educational series just on Fibonacci retracement, and then how could we apply that to the price action scanner. So the RSI scanner just came out. So I'm currently working on that presentation now, which will be a twofold. It'll be RSI, what is it? What can you do with it? What is this thing telling me? To how is this relevant to the RSI scanner, and how can I use that for trading? What is this actually going to do for me that'll, either help me trading or help me identify a chart that I need to look at for a possible trade.
So for the people that don't know what a scanner is, a scanner is going to help make your trading a little bit more efficient, where you're able to kind of view with your price action scanner the trends very quickly instead of having to scan all the charts on Binance. It takes forever. My background is trading in the equities market, and when I was trading stocks, there was several scanners out there, like very sophisticated, and you pretty much had to have one because trading stocks it moves very quickly. So you would have an alert, you set it to your filters, how you want to scan the market or whatever. You could sort it by volume, by market cap, by price, all of it. And then it would just pop up in front of you, and you could pull up the chart and take action instead of you going out there and trying to search which coins look good, what are the movers. You have them come to you, and it makes it a lot more efficient.
And that's a huge time saver, no?
Right. And that's why I've been really itching. Like, somebody needs to create a crypto scanner, because I found a lot of value when I was trading stocks in using a scanner. And, I would have loved to do it, but we have our own trading community and a million other things going on. So I'm glad somebody's finally bringing a scanner to the market. Hopefully, you guys build a great product that the whole community is able to use.
Yeah. So when he released the scanner, there was a large buildup. From jumping onto Twitter, he was always talking about it. I'm working on this. I'm working on this. I'm going to get this out. It's going to help you guys. And delivered, and that was the best part. And the underlining goal, right? The big achievement is to save time, as all traders, right? As we just talked about earlier before we were recording, save time so that you can use it elsewhere. So I was saying that I'm a weekend trader. So for me, I got my watch list on TradingView, and it's got 60 or so different pairs on there and all my charts. And then I hit the space bar, and I go through every chart. Sure. And if I see something interesting, if I see a setup that looks good or something I want to, dive in a little deeper for, then I'll do that. And then I'll make my trade, based off of those decisions. But now with the price action scanner, I could go through that 4 to 6 hour process in 30 minutes. It's really mind blowing to even say that, but it's absolutely true. I'll throw the scanner up. I'll sort it out by peak gains. I'll take a look at what's moving right now. I'll take a look at what moved in the last 3 days, what moved in the last 7 days, what kind of retracement we got going on, what kind of pullback are we looking at. I'll take a look at the trend in a glance and say, all right, well, if I got 3 dark green to the right and I got a couple light green to the left, well, that tells me a strong trend on the long time frame, short pullback going on in the 5, 15, 30. Okay, this is something I want to look at, because if I can get on the other side of that pullback and go long, I'm in. Right. So to be able to do that with so many charts, with so many pairs, it was such a time saver. So I was lucky to get access early and implement that into my trading, so that when I did go to talk about the class, I had that kind of background with it. So it's like, okay, I've been using this for a few weeks now. I put this thing through its pace, and thumbs up. I like it. So it was a really good thing to save that time. And to be able to recognize so much information so quickly, where we've got it to the point where, some guys just won't trade, low cap coins. Right. So they say, all right, they hit the button for market cap, and anything over 100 million, they'll trade, and it's sorted right there for you. So now you can take a look at just high cap coins, just a trend, real quick glance on the left. What's the trend doing? What do we got in the 5? What do we got in the 1 day? All right, and then let me see what's happening in the last 24 hours. So I throw on the 1 day, I hit peak gain. All right, this coin's up 32%, and it's retraced 35. So it's just about hitting the 382.
Right.
So I know this. I know all of this without even opening up a chart.
Sure.
So if I want to get in on a 382 retrace, or maybe a 5 or a 618, depending on what I see once I open up the chart, right, then I'm in. But that's the whole thing.
It's just used to open the chart.
Correct. Yeah, this gets
you aren't supposed to just trade off the scanner. This scanner is just so it could filter whatever your criteria is and kind of just bring it to your attention.
Correct.
Then you pull it up and make a plan.
100%. So this will get you into the correct chart, or at least a chart that has more promise than hitting spacebar through the watch list.
Right.
Going through 30 charts, you didn't need to, because they're ranging and nothing's happening.
Right.
How it's been for the last 3 months. We just mostly been in range, and a lot of them are just making either new lower lows or just around
bouncing,
an old support level from last year.
Right.
So Yeah, the idea is see as much as you can and make good decisions quickly, and then open up the correct chart so that you're not wasting all that time. And if you see what you like on that chart, then of course, you know, all TA applies at that point. Don't just blindly trade off the scanner. It's a scanner. It's not a a trading bot.
It's a tool.
Right.
Yeah,
Robot.
exactly.
Robot signals.
It is a tool to help you as a trader be more efficient, save you time, and get you back to doing the other things that you want to do in life instead of staring at charts that aren't going anywhere.
Right. Very cool. Is there like a hierarchy of what signals or what indicators are actually making the green or the red, or is it based entirely on price action?
So, well, it's a price action scanner, Kurt. So it is based off of price action. That's the underlining foundation of it. Yeah. So when you look at it on a glance, right, you're either looking at the peak gain or the peak drop. You know, however much it lost during X amount of time, or however much it gained during X amount of time. Sure. And then have the live fib is to say, all right, within 3 days of trading, this coin has gone up 18%. Mm-hmm. But it's so far lost from that 18% gain, it's so far lost 82%.
Right.
All right. So now you got to say, all right, well, if this thing's going to bounce, it'll bounce on the 886. Otherwise, it's over, you know, and we're going to retrace 100%. We're going to lose that 8% we gained, and we're right back to where we started.
Sure.
So instead of relying on your traditional fib location, your lower anchor or your upper anchor, this will give you a slice of time, a slice of trading history.
Right.
You just want to know 3 days. What happened 72 hours from now? What was the low and what was the high? Is there an impulse move I can get in? Right. Is there a pullback I can jump in on, or I can set some trades at?
Right.
So what we've noticed, and we'll talk about this in a minute, but if you can get yourself that big impulse out of range, you know what I mean? You get that big move up, and now you're looking, you know, it's on there. We're 32% up, retrace 35%. All right.
Right.
We're just about at the 382, you know. Well, let me take a look at the chart. Now I'll look at the chart and I'll say, okay, in previous impulse moves, you know, this is always retraced to the 618. Always. Right. Every time it's had this big move, it goes 618 and finds support.
Sure.
So maybe I'll place an order at the 5 and the 618. And I'll take that trade if I like what I see.
Yeah.
If I don't like what I see, or if immediately I look at it and I say, well, this is a small cap coin. It's 6 million,
right?
No market cap, and it's got, you know, 25 Bitcoin worth of volume trading. I don't even need to open that chart.
Right.
That's a chart. That's time saved right there. I'm not even going to trade it. Now, other people might, and that's their own prerogative. But me personally, I'm staying away from super low cap coins because even the historical data is very hard to apply any sort of technical analysis to it. Sometimes there's just no rhyme or reason to a big impulse move.
Right.
And more likely than not, it goes right back down. It's 100% loss. So whatever you're saying, you already missed it. You know, you're not getting a number 2 out of that. You're not getting a third move. You're not getting a fourth. You're getting that one, and it's already over.
Yeah, for sure. Makes sense.
So what is determining the color of the boxes on the price action scanner? Is it just looking for higher lows or lower highs?
So, I mean, that's going to go straight back to the development team and how they've designed it to work. But what I've noticed by looking at it, when you look at it every day or a few times a day, I'll pull up that chart. So I'll say on the 30-minute time frame, yesterday it was light pink, right? And today it's light green. You know, so I'll look at that chart and I'll say, well, what changed? You know, and I'll be able to see, okay, we've rounded out the top. You know, so it's starting to get more bullish. So whether it's, I don't have the answer, but whether it's higher highs within a certain degree of range, or whether it's an overall picture, you know, panoramic picture of trend, you know, just a straight up trend line from the lowest to the highest. I don't know, but I do know that I back tested it to my charts, and I'll pull up a 5, and on the price action scanner it says light pink, and sure enough, it's sideways with a slightly bearish tone.
Sure.
It's sideways, but it's leaning, it's not a heavy downtrend, but
Right.
made some lower lows over the course of the last, 24 hours of trading on a 5-minute chart is more than enough data, for you to decide if there's a local trend going on. And if it's just kind of a sideways range, but it is making some lower lows, then that seems accurate to me. So I don't know the secret sauce, to make
there's an indicator like the parabolic SAR. You
Right.
familiar with that?
only
It tells you
slightly.
when the trend is changing. It puts a dot below if it's starting to trend up, or a dot above starting to trend down. And that's pretty much a running indicator for signaling trend change.
Okay.
So
Have you
maybe
found
use something like that. It has to use something, because if it's accurate, then it's recording these higher lows or some sort of indicator.
Right. Well, again, the theory behind it is all price action. So
Right.
put your mind into a price action trader, which I think at the heart, all of us are price action traders. No matter how many indicators you end up using or what style you develop into, at your core, right, you're still looking for the movement.
Right.
You want to know what moved. How did it move? Did it move fast? Did it move slow? Was it a huge jump? Was it a slow ride? Was it a long bleed out?
Right.
And you're subconsciously a price action trader. So if that's the thought and the theory and the underlying foundation of the scanner, then I would imagine you're looking for moves within a certain range and within a certain degree from each other, from a low to a high. And is this a trend? Is it a reliable trend that I could say that this is a strong uptrend, this is sideways but with bullish tone, or this is a strong downtrend, or is it completely sideways?
Yeah. Interesting.
So, one thing that when I was trading stocks and using scanners in the stock market, I'd be able to get notifications or alerts, like if it crossed the 200-day moving average on the daily, it's going to alert me, telling me that this ticker did that. So what I was wondering with the Trading Room app, I know you guys have a bunch of modules you're going to be building. Are we going to be able to set it so we get alerts or notifications when our criteria is met?
Well, all right. So we want to do all the modules first. There are many more modules coming. Then if there's a demand for alerts, we'll add alerts. But the alerts will be a paid feature. You're dealing with server capacity and data feeds that far exceed what we can offer for a free tool. It's already free. So that being said, we'll look into it if there's a demand for it. So if there's a big push and everyone's saying, "Hey, this thing's great,"
I think there's going to be a push.
Well,
and people would pay, I think, gladly for a tool like that.
And we'll see. We want to be able to offer these tools to the community so that they can use them. And if they find value in it, and that's the next feature they want, and they're willing to pay, then we will develop it. You know what I mean? But as of right now, it's on the back burner, and it's an interest if there's a demand for it. But we want to pump out the rest of the modules so it's a complete package. And then when that's all said and done, we'll start looking into other avenues.
So who's the team? Are you guys all known people, or do you have like a bunch of anonymous people, or who's building this app and the modules and everything else?
It's an interesting thing. I don't know. So I'm on the team. I don't know all of the team. They're spread out. Different countries, all different time zones, from educators like myself to developers and designers, think tank, the whole 9 yard, traders that have experience, 30 plus years experience trading, mostly price action. So, you could see the brainchild of it and how it was developed. And then a team was sort of selected, I need someone for this. I think they're a good fit. Let's bring them on. Let's see what they could do, see what their passion level is, and then we'll take it from there. So that's sort of my best answer. Sorry.
Sure. Do you have like a lead developer? Is there somebody who's like the face of Trading Room, or not really?
Not really. No. Well, I'm Trading Room app, right? That would at least be the focal, right? That's
Right.
All the notifications, the information, the latest updates, those are all sourced out of that account.
Sure.
From there, I think the only face we've ever seen is mine.
Wow.
And that's
cool.
That's from the webinars, right? So
Sure.
it's avatars, and then it's me.
Fascinating. Well, yeah, no, it's funny. I ask because I see you in the corner of all the videos. It's like, all right, there's Chingas, but who else we got?
Yeah, it's a good question. And I would assume it'll remain anonymous until they feel the need to break anonymity.
Sure, that's cool. I like it. It's exciting. It's like Bitcoin itself, right? So who is who built this damn thing? I'm in charge now, but gosh,
I don't know, but I like it.
That's pretty great.
So one thing I noticed on the app is that right now it only looked like Binance. I was curious if in the future you guys are planning on adding other exchanges.
Right. So the next exchanges we're looking at, because the price action scanner tool works to long or short, and you can't short on Binance. So whether they add that or not is anybody's guess. So we're looking into the margin exchanges.
Sure.
So we're looking at heading into Finex and MEX and Kraken, Trex, swing into KuCoin, any sort of exchange that'll allow you some type of margin. That's what we're looking to integrate next as far as exchanges are concerned.
Are you also looking to break down like pairs? Could we only sort like USD pairs or Ethereum pairs?
So right now, because Binance biggest pairs are BTC, ETH, and Tether. Their next biggest after that would be BNB, correct. So right now we do have BTC, Tether, and ETH. We have those three pairs. As we move into the other exchanges, we'll look into what probably their biggest volume or their biggest movers are, their biggest pairings. And then we'll try to do something across all the exchanges, at least have those available for all the exchanges. And then if it does get into the situation of BNB is again a demand, then we'll look into it. But for what it already does, those pairings should really take care of the masses. If somebody wants a very specific pair of USD coin, I don't know. I don't think that's going to happen.
Well, I asked because we're big USD pair traders on Bitfinex. Like a lot of our signals, a lot of the trades that we're making are the high volume pairs on Bitfinex.
Okay.
So in a lot of the USD pairs, I don't like trading BTC pairs in a bear market that much, but the USD pairs have been very kind to us over the past year. So we like focusing on the USD pairs on Bitfinex, and that's our exchange of choice as well.
Yeah, so if the USD pair on Finex is probably similar in volume to the Tether pair or more, then we would probably be pushing towards the USD pair as opposed to or in tandem with the Tether pair, just to give them the option.
There's only one. I think it is Tether.
Oh, it is Tether. All right, so it's USDT. So you'll have that.
That's what you ask.
Yeah, so you'll have it. Like put it this way: BTC, ETH, and USDT. Right, that's basically a go.
Right.
For all the exchanges coming down the road. If it's specific, like I said, BNB, there's high volume, there's a lot of pairings, but you can make all those same trades on ETH, BTC, or Tether. So we'll see. If there's a huge demand for it, of course, we'll run it by the team, and if it gets to green light, it gets to green light. You guys will know. But if you're worried about USDT on Finex, that'll be coming. So
sure,
Finex, MEX, Kraken, Trex.
Right.
KuCoin, all those three major pairs, those will all be taken care of.
Sure. I have a question about the business model? Do you guys are you going to sell advertising in the app, or how are you guys, like, what's your guys' motivation to produce an app, or is it just so you can use the tool yourselves, or I mean, which is totally cool, but I'm curious, like, do you guys see this as being like, we're gonna be successful entrepreneurs because of this app, or is it just like,
well, how do you monetize?
Yeah, where's the money come from, man?
Well, so the bigger picture is bring this tool into other content providers,
Right.
educators, paid groups, but under a white label. You know what I mean?
Oh,
So
okay, sure.
we can white label it out, and they could provide it as as their scanner, or
Right.
spice it up any which way that they want. So that would be one model.
Mhm.
Then when we break it into the other markets, and you're talking Forex, commodities,
Yeah.
stocks, the fundamentals of it work, right?
Right.
So applying all of that to other markets,
Mhm.
and introducing this to, let's say, the Forex market
Sure.
under a paid version, that would be one more idea for it.
Absolutely.
But going down for the whole scope of Trading Room, I mean, it's not just a couple modules. It's
Right.
MA crossovers coming. There's a distance tracker coming. Support resistance levels.
Right.
A liquidity index, a volume scanner, like all these things are coming. But on top of that, we want to launch our own social media module, something that
Sure.
takes all of the issues of the current social media things and fixes them, solves them, makes it enjoyable for traders, right?
Sure.
So that would be the idea. So a platform to allow paid groups to be able to monetize directly on the platform, to open up a marketplace on that platform for educators and trainers to find new clients, a way to pair some very new people out that just want to learn the basics with some educators that just want to teach the basics, but in an open platform, in a social media platform that's big enough to house all of us, right? But be able to categorize that out in a way where people can find each other easily, instead of just getting lost as one more avatar just in a mix of
Sure.
So is this all going to be on the Trading Room app on like iPhone, Android?
Right. So the apps are coming. We're releasing the modules now on the website. So to do the back end development for the apps, that's happening in tandem while we release the modules. But like we've realized with the very first module, we've already made a handful of small changes. So to develop the whole thing for, let's say, iOS, to then go back and redevelop it for iOS didn't really make much sense.
Right.
So we said, let's put it out. Let's make the changes. Once we have a huge amount of people using it and we have the feedback and we make, the changes that people like, that'll be the implementation that we'll put on the app.
Sure.
So, it'll be coming, but to answer your question, yeah, I believe that the massive platform will either evolve from the app or just be integrated into the app.
Sure.
In other words, so it could be housed somewhere completely different, and then it would the access would be through the app, or the app itself is the platform already, and we're just building on top of it.
Sure.
Again, another development.
Right.
Question. I tried. I don't know. I hope that was right.
It's fascinating. It's a cool project. Like,
I'm going to be getting random emails from people I've never heard of. They're like, "Hey,
right.
don't say that."
Funny. So let's see. I'm trying to think of where, like, what is the ideal person? Like, is this going to be a thing? Because I've been using it a little bit myself, and granted, I've only had a couple of days to test it and play with it.
Okay.
And I'm not, like, I'm the kind of guy that literally watches 2 or 3 coins ever. And I trade, I'm like the 2 or 3 trades a month swing trader guy. So for me,
Okay.
I'm not like, I like it. I like the app. I like what it's showing me, that it's good information, but it's not necessarily doing me any favors. So then I'm asking myself, who is the ideal person? Like, who needs this app? Whose life is this going to change aggressively?
Any trader that understands the basics of TA, the basics
Sure.
of technical analysis, any trader that spends any more than an hour, let's just say, all right, that's just a number I'm throwing out there, but any sort of time on charts, and they feel like they've wasted a whole bunch of time on those charts because they haven't executed trades
Right.
off of them.
You're doing homework instead of trading.
That's who it's built for. I mean, this is, like I was saying in my personal example, you know, on the weekends, you only have X amount of time, and you've already booked yourself from both ends. You know what I mean? You lit that candle both ways, and, you know, time's about to explode. So you have X amount of time to do this. And I spend all my time charting.
Yeah.
So 4 to 6 hours I'm charting. Maybe I got 2-3 trades in.
Right.
But I narrowed that down, and I'm able to get all of that done by not going and checking all these charts I don't need to even open in the first place, and finding an ideal setup that might be primed for a pullback or might be primed to get in on a trade. I could save myself hours.
Yeah.
And that's priceless.
Yeah, for sure.
There's no price you could put on time, and especially for traders, because
for sure.
I can see it in your eyes, and I can see it in your eyes. We all put in long days, and we all put in long nights, right? So, you know, there's 24 hours in the day. I try to use 20 of them, and there's just never enough time. So for me, this is built for a trader who can understand the basics of technical analysis, but also wants to save all that time. And whatever they do with that time, that's their business. But, you know, they could research some more stuff. They could go out to the store. They could spend it with their family. Whatever the case may be, they don't need to waste their time on charts that don't have trade setups.
Sure.
And you can use it, you know, if you want to dedicate an hour to do scalp trades, you could do that with this very quickly.
Right.
So like when I used to scalp, I would scout with a group of people, and we would scout one pair, and everybody would be in voice, and everybody would have a chart up, and everybody would be looking at different things, and we would shout out what we saw, and we would get in on minute candles. Right. But now you don't need to do that. Right now you could throw the scanner up, and you can
still do that.
I mean, we have, you know. I mean, I miss it. Those are glory days, right? Glory days. But now I could throw the
new
scanner.
Xbox Live.
I could sort it on the 5-minute chart, and I could see who's moving. Who's moving on that 5-minute chart? Who's got a strong uptrend? Who's got a pullback? You know, where could I throw a short in? Even though it has all the Binance pairs on it, that doesn't mean I can't go on a margin site and I can't short. You know what I mean? The trend relatively, you know, is going to be somewhat transparent from exchange to exchange. The days of the massive arbitrage are all but over.
Yeah.
So you could say, okay, you know, we have movement in the 5 and the 15, a strong uptrend on Binance, but that doesn't mean I can't go over to Kraken, you know, and say, all right, well, we're hitting resistance, I'm throwing a short. So that's good for scalping, for midweek swings, for midterm swings. Now, for you, Kurt, like you could set up just your watch list. Those 3 coins that you do, you plop it on the watch list, you throw on a 30-day, right? And just see, you don't even have to open up the chart to lay the fib on.
Sure.
You say within 30 days, we gained 300%. And from that 300%, we're down, you know, 10%. There's nothing for me to look at.
Right.
Trades good. Long-term time frame still shows strong uptrend. Sure. Why do I even need to open the chart unless I want to move up my stop?
Right.
Outside of that, now I could say, all right, well, in the last 7 days, you know, I could just hit that one button, say, all right, well, in the last 7 days, oh, well, I got 200% in the last 7 days. That means, you know, 20 days, it wasn't doing nothing.
Right.
Something sparked this big move in the last 7 days. So let me hop on that chart, because that means I could be getting in on a pullback here.
Right.
I mean, so because it'll break it down to you in a way that even having the chart open, you might not think about.
Right.
It's all laid out there right there for you.
Sure. So it's still saving me time. Yeah, I see what you're saying.
Correct. Yeah. And you might see opportunities you didn't realize before. And now with the addition of the RSI scanner, you could say, all right, well, from the 5 minute to the 1 day, what are we looking at?
Right.
I mean, if I'm looking at, if I'm you and I got my 30-day swings, right, and I start seeing, the 12-hour and the daily are now creeping up into 85, 86, 90.
Right.
I'm starting to see the blues over there. I said, well,
Sure.
do I want to be that?
Right.
Do I want to be the hodl guy?
Right.
Do I just want to hold it while it tanks?
Hot potato.
Or do I maybe want to realize my profits and let this thing come down and then put some new targets in there?
Right.
You know what I mean?
For sure.
Or short it. Who knows? You can flip to short.
Right.
So right now I'm looking at the scanner. You have the 5 minute, 15 minute, 30 minute, hour, 4 hour, 6 hour, 12-hour daily. So with each of these, you have a green or red box that kind of identifies the trend. So for newer people that are just looking at your scanner, what is the combination of green and red boxes that you would look for on the scanner?
So, I mean, right off the bat, what I look for is I look for dark green on the longer time frames, and then I look for some light pink working its way into the shorter time frames, which would get me into the mindset of a pullback.
Right.
So I would look at a few things once I see that. And so let's say I sorted right now by the daily. So I'm going to sort by daily, and I'm going to keep it on 3 days. So in 3 days, I also have the fibs on the side. Now remember, they're separate, completely separate, but one module. So I sort by daily, and I say, all right, the 4 that are showing me a strong uptrend are Theta BTC, Litecoin ETH, BNB ETH, and BNB BTC. So for me, I would take a look at BNB BTC, and I'll tell you why. 12-hour and daily strong uptrend. 5 minute and 15 minute strong downtrend.
Right.
So as a price action trader, what does that tell you? You have a long-term strong uptrend, not sideways with a bullish tone, a strong uptrend. And then just in the short term, you got a pullback.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm looking at. I'm looking at a pullback. So, I would have to go to peak gains over here, and it says 0, right? So 0, and then live fib is showing me 99. So there's something shaking there where there was no gains were made within that time. So it's either it's completely flat, right, or it's lost everything that it gained within that 3-day period.
Mm-hmm.
That could also be a data issue right there, like a feed issue, because that doesn't seem right, because I know BNB has moved over the last few days.
Right.
So let's see on Litecoin ETH. Same situation, but not as bullish, right? The daily is still a strong uptrend, but the 12, the 6, and the 4 are sideways, but with a bullish tone, which means they need to start getting dark green. So I would be looking for, as I look at this in the morning, and then I look at it again at night, I would say, all right, well, in the morning, that daily wasn't dark green. So now it's dark green. So now the next step is to get that 12 dark green. I want to start seeing all these time frames in a bullish move, in a strong bullish trend. But having these pullbacks down here on the 30, that might be an opportunity to get in.
Right.
When I look at the fib on a 3-day period, it's only up 2.6%. And of that 2.6, it's lost 88. All right, so more or less a 3% move in a 3-day period, that's nothing. You know what I mean? So that's a chart I don't even need to open until that 12-hour goes dark green, and I see an up move and a peak gain over 20%. Otherwise, I don't need to trade that. There's nothing for me on that chart that's going to get me any type of valuable trade in a longer time frame. Now, if I want to dive into what's moving right now, if I want to start scalping that, I'll go to like a 6-hour chart.
Right.
And I could take a look, at that same pair.
So you just click on the H6 and it'll filter it by
right
6-hour chart.
So if I go to H6 and then let me just tap on peak gain, and I'll see what's moving in the last 6 hours. In the last 6 hours, we got a 10% move on Myth, right? Myth BTC, 10% move up. Of that 10%, we've pulled back 64% of it. So I know we've already crossed the 618. Now, Myth is telling me here 18 million market cap, so I know it's a low cap coin. You know,
Right.
these are consistent with pump and dumps. But I could pop the chart open because those coins, those low cap coins, tend to find support at 786.
Right.
For whatever reason, they blow right by to 618, like it doesn't even matter. So, but that's something by being able to look at those charts. So I could say, all right, 6 hours up 10%, lost 64%, headed to the 786, and I could say, all right, on the 12 and the daily, this thing is sideways. This thing's doing nothing. So I know I could get in. I could probably get in with a quick scalp. You know, whether it's
What is sideways? Is that light pink or light green?
sideways is gray. So if you see
there's a gray too. I don't even see
you'll
one.
see the last two are gray. So gray gray has no tone. No, it's not
completely sideways.
I noticed it was on BSV and BCH were both gray on the daily
Right.
12.
Well,
Yeah.
See, now here's another cool thing you could do with it, right? So if I go to, let's go back to 7 day. Let's go to 7 days, and I'll take a look at the fibs for a second. But first, I'm going to go to daily, and I'm going to go so that I filter it by the worst trends, right? The downtrend movers. And I could look at something like AMB BTC, you know, which has 3 dark green in the front. 3 dark pink in the front, 3 dark pink at the end, and then sideways on the 1 and the 4. But if we're making our lows, if we're ranging out for a long time, I'll throw that on my watch list. Because when I see a peak gain at 20%, 25%, I know we made that first move out of the range, right? And 9 times out of 10, you're going to get that pullback. And then I'm going to buy. I'm going to buy that pullback, and I'll play the impulse move up, you know, on the next move. So, of course, that's all dedicated on what I see when I open up that chart, right? But just based off of this, I know I don't need to open that at AMB ETH chart just yet. And I don't need to open up the BTC pairing just yet. But I could throw it on my watch list, and that will be those will be my range moves. So like we were talking about before we were recording was there happens to be in the last 6 weeks, 8 weeks, you know, 1, 2, maybe 3 coins a week sort of have this move. There's this energy about them, you know, BNB just moves. Theta just moves. ETH goes to town. Tron was probably the only one that had FA to go with it, but still it moved. And so the question everyone's asking is, which one's next? It just seems to be that one of these is going to move. You know, it's just a matter of creeping out of range and then capturing that. So if I look, ARK, BTC today, in the last 7 days, it's up 70%. It's already lost 40% of that 70 gain. So I know we're headed to the 50, right? We hit that 50 or the 618. That's something I could pull the chart up on because I see the 4 to 6 to 12 are bullish, where the daily is a little sideways, right? Sideways but bullish. So once I pull the chart, I'll realize if we've either lost the daily or if we're creating the daily. Are we making, you know, is it going to turn dark green? Or is the 12, the 6, and the 4 going to start to turn the other way? Are they going to start getting light green? But I see that the 5 minute is sideways but bearish. So if I can get the 15 and the 13 on my radar to start turning pink or dark pink, that's the pullback I'm looking for. So a 70% gain up. So that's a big impulse move up in 7 days, right? 40% we lost from it. So that's healthy. Right, past the 382 is healthy, right? So from the 382 to the 618, in traditional markets, you'd be at 382, not so much to 5, but crypto's a little deeper. You know, it cuts a little bit deeper. So a 618 is respectable. 786 if you're a very low cap coin, and 886 if I have no words for finding support on 886 from a full retracement. I don't know what's going on.
Do you like trading Fibonacci?
I do. I mean, it's not the only thing I trade, but it's certainly something I look at. And for these types of moves, it's exactly what I look at. You can measure out that first impulse move up and then measure the next move and the next move and the next move. An example like BNB, you could see every move and you could see every pullback. and they're either from the 382 to the 618, or they're just a little sideways, you know, as if they didn't pull back at all, and it's just part of the same move. So slight hesitation, you know, you get that little dip, but it really only hits the 236, and then it just keeps going. But you can see all those moves up. So for me, I could set that fib up, and I could throw a fib extension on from that very first move, and I could see the 1-618, the 2-618, the 3-618, the 4-2-3, and they all get hit. You know, if you have that nice 2-week period, which is what we've had, you know. So yes, are we in a bear market? Absolutely. Have we been bear since December and January for altcoins? Yeah, 100%. But that doesn't mean you can't trade the big moves. The big moves are happening, and they've been happening.
Right.
Enough people are still holding from 2018 though.
Yeah.
They miss out on it.
Yeah, I mean, and sure, you know, they're sitting on something that's down 90%, and they say, well, great, I get a 20% rip. I need 880, you know, percent more in order to break even. All right, but you know, it's a step. Like, I don't know what to tell you at that point.
But then you got to explain, well, if you weren't holding and you were a little bit more flexible with your portfolio and not married to anything.
The thought process at that point would be start over. You know, just dust everything.
Yeah.
Put yourself
take the L and redo.
And I've been telling a guy that for about 10 months now, and I talk to him a couple times a week, and he's just like, "Oh man, I gotta get back to, you know, XYZ portfolio spot." I'm like, bro, it's
I mean,
holding if you're lucky.
Put it this way: if you sold everything, you know, whatever you're holding, you know, you're holding your CND and your Pundy and whatever you have, I don't care. If you just sold it, even if it's a $3 bag, $10 bag, $100, whatever, and you used all that money to play a couple bigger moves, bigger moves with better strike rates, let's just say, and proper stop losses.
Right.
You know what I mean? So that, you know, you can trade your stack, you know, depending on contract size or depending on your risk element. And still, if it goes the wrong way, you're down 1% or 2%.
Right.
You still have 98% of your stack for the next trade. So to develop that mindset to say, let me just unmarry everything. Let me just cut the cord to everything, and then start using either better tools or better judgment or something with a better strike rate based off of what I've seen, and let me play a couple moves here. And this way, you don't have you don't need 40 different coins to all make big moves.
Yeah, no, it's absurd.
You only need one, you know, in order to at least you'll at least get the 236.
Sure.
Right. So at a range, right? So at a range, you're getting the 236. That's 23%.
Right.
What trader in their right mind in any other market besides crypto, right, is upset with a 23% gain?
Right.
Nobody. I mean, are you kidding me?
Right.
So,
struggle to make that in 3 months and 4x.
Right. Yeah. Right. So, you know, it's a matter of one reason why I love this tool is because it shows me those setups just by looking at the peak gain and the Fibbo, right?
Sure.
You know, the trend comes next, but you know, that gets my attention. So this way I could say in the last 3 days. So to put it this way, right? What are we, the middle of the week? So we're Wednesday, right? So Wednesday, I'm going to put up a 3-day. I'm going to say what moved since Monday? You know, how has the week been shaping out for me? And then if I want to get in on something right away, what's moved in the last day?
Yeah.
You know, what has somebody moved 20%? You know, in a 1 day period, in 24 hours of trading, has anybody moved that much and already retraced, let's say, 35, 40%? So I know it missed the 382, which means it should be headed to the 5, right? Or the 618.
Right.
Loses the 5, the 618. So I could play that. So, you know, we're back on myth again, but ARK, right? ARK BTC, right? 20% up in a 24-hour period, 65%. Right, so I know that 20% move was a good move, and we've already pulled back 65% of those gains. So the 618's gone. All right, the next step would be, you know, the 786 or that funky little middle spot around the 70 zone, right? But that would at least get me looking at the chart. when I see I have the 4, the 6, the 12 are in a strong uptrend and only the 5 minute is slightly bearish, then I could say, all right, well, that slightly bearish could easily be that 65% working its way down to the 786. You know what I mean? Just on the smaller time frame, it's just doing a bit of a pullback. Now, mind you, that's only 24 hours of trading, and you got a 20% peak, right? So that might get me interested in it. Now, if I open up the chart and find that this is the 4th move like this you know, in the last 2 weeks, it's probably retired.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I probably won't trade. And if I do, I'm looking for much smaller gains. I'm looking for a full retracement, you know, back to the 1, and that's a wrap.
Right.
As opposed to shooting for the 1-6-1-8 or the 2-6-1-8, the 3-6-1-8, something you could do on those very first moves. You know, and
so you would recommend somebody have knowledge and learn how to use the fibs.
Yeah, for sure. And that's why we did that webinar. You know, we did one just on the price action scanner, but then we did another one just on Fibonacci. You know, so this way it was, this is Fibonacci, this is a retracement, these are extensions, this is how you can use them on a chart. This is how it makes sense with the scanner. So for one of the guys on the team, he's been trading 30 plus years. Like his bread and butter move is this move.
Right.
Like looking for a peak gain coming in 20-25% in like a 1 to 3 day period and waiting for the pullback and buying the 5, buying the 6-1-8 and letting it go, right? Your targets at that point are like a 1-6-1-8, a 2-6-1-8. You can go up to 4-2-3 depending on, you know, how it's moving, what kind of volume. Obviously, you're looking at other things. So what kind of horizontal support resistance are you coming into? What was historical data telling you? You know, does the 1-6-1-8 line up with a previous swing high? Is this going to be an area where I need to exit? You know, that type of thing. So it's not like, you know, here's a freebie, just press the button and just print money. It doesn't work that way. And I hope, everybody knows that by now.
Yeah.
But the time it'll save you to not open up all those charts that aren't doing anything and get you on a chart that is doing something so that you could throw those trades up. That to me is, you know, priceless.
Sure.
Well, let me ask you now, because now that you mentioned that, will we eventually be able to trade directly through this app, through the APIs on the exchanges?
Okay, so we don't have anything like that now. That's a plan with, again, if there is demand for it, it's something we will look, you know, heavily into. But you know, as of today, no. And we would like to, you know, get the rest of the modules out. That's the big focus, is to get that out. Keep it so that it's one consistent product across the board. So, you know, with the price action scanner comes the RSI scanner, comes the MA crossover, comes the distance tracker. And when all that is done, the development team is going to go on vacation. and then start cracking into what is the community demanding? You know, is it something that they absolutely want? You know, we'll look into it. So, you know,
well, one thing, like for our community, we have about 250, 260 traders in our pro Discord chat room. So we run everything through Discord. Well, with Discord, we've built a series of bots and indicators for ourselves, like an RSI bot that just alerts us Binance and Bitfinex when the RSI crosses above 80 or below 20 on the daily. I don't care about the other time frames. I'm only concerned about the higher time frames. We have a similar bot for volume as well. But they aren't perfect. They're just something we kind of did in our downtime. But something like this, it would be really cool to see if we could integrate that somehow into Discord that would alert us.
Yeah, I'm excited to practice with it now.
Well, I think that'd be a good idea.
Well, yeah, Matt, that's a really good point. And, you know, with a larger community, and that is what would make or break. That is what you need it to do. That would focus the attention of the development teams. Okay, 80% of the people using this can really benefit from this feature. What can we do? Certainly the technology is out there. What else do we have on the roadmap right now? And can we fit it in? Or is this something that needs to wait until all the modules are released? So it's a great thing about having it's a team of traders. I'm a trader, I guess some of the other guys, or I know for sure some of the other guys are traders, but with developers and designers. So, it could be molded into the direction that best suits the community. And that's
sure.
Put this out there for the community, put it out there so that, people can save time. People can quickly see trends without wasting time going on charts for no reason. People can trade pullbacks and short resistance that's coming up on peak drops. They can look quickly at RSI and they could say, wow, we're completely oversold on the daily, but the opposite is going on in the smaller time frames. I might be able to get in there for a couple scalps. This is to really help the entire trading community. So my point is, if the entire trading community says, hey, can you do this? We're not gonna close our ears off. We're gonna listen, and we're gonna see what we could do. We'll get the development team on it, and we'll see if it's something viable that we could do. Something like with the alerts, like you can't just do the alerts. Now you need servers. Now you need different data streams.
Right.
So for that comes, okay, there's more math involved. So that'll be a paid feature. If it's something that can be done and we feel the whole community could use it, we'll probably just pump it out. So that's the great thing about having a versatile team that's within the community. If guys are begging for it and we're able to deliver it, then the idea would be, let's at least look into it. We have our own roadmap that's pretty intense, and that'll be our focus, and that is our focus. But yeah, I mean the DMs are always open. The feedback email is always open, and we read those and we look at those and we do take them to heart. We appreciate people using them, leaving feedback, letting us know what they like, letting us know what they don't like. Just recently, the up move, down move, right, used to say buy Fibo, sell Fibo, right? And people were confused. So, okay, designers go back, developers go back. This is what the community wants. They want to change that. All right, no problem, we'll change it. Everybody was dying for a watch list. We said, all right, well, we're working on one. We're working on one. It's coming out with the RSI scanner. It'll be implemented into the entire design. Okay, watch list. Boom, it's done. 1 week later, there it is. So we listen. That's the bottom line is we're listening. So have the feedback come at us, and we'll see what we could do.
Sure.
Very cool.
So where could people find the scanner if they want to use it today?
So right on the site, tradingroom.io. So that site has, an entire page for market cap where you could go through, individual coins, some data specs on them, volume, supply, price, change, that type of thing. And then you go into a webinar page, which is education, what's coming down the road, what we're looking at. News will give you a nice feed of what's happening in the market today, what's happening across crypto. Blog has some really good articles on here. Everything from trade setups to more education. But under home and under markets, once you're on there, you'll see the scanner. It's right there in front of you. You have to go out of your way to head over to the other tabs. So once you load it up, you'll be looking at the price action scanner. And then the RSI scanner is to the top right. So it's all built in. You just click the button and then your view changes to what's shaking on the RSI side of things.
Sure.
So, right now it's built for 70-30 and 85-15. We may do an 80-20. We'll look at interest if community is demanding it. we'll work
I
on.
like 80-20. That there's my interest.
Or
Or if we could set it to our personal preferences, that'd be even better.
Yeah, so I mean, right now they're at 14. The 8515 is faster. That's at the 7. So
Right.
far more noise and far more possible false triggers. But if you're familiar with those settings, then you're already
Well, yeah.
a little
And
bit.
I only look at the daily.
Okay.
The daily 80-20 triggers, like, I don't know, maybe one of them triggers a week.
Right.
On
Yeah.
Binance or Bitfinex.
Not often enough, but when it does, it's meaningful.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, it's
Cool.
it's right here. It's very easy to get to. Like I said, the apps are coming, but let's get the modules out. Let's make all those minor changes that we need to make so that when the app is out, it's in its so to speak final version.
Cool. And where could we find more of Chingas and Trading Room app around the social media?
So Trading Room app is just that, Trading Room app, and he's on Twitter, so at Trading Room app. Myself, it's Chingasek. So Twitter, YouTube, Twitch, Stream Me, BitTube. I mean, I'm all over the place, man, and everyone is Chingasek. I think Twitch is actually, I think the X is in the middle, so it's Chin X. I don't know. It's easy enough to find.
Sure.
But yeah, I mean, I'm out and about. I answer all my DMs, but I try to, stay in tune with as much as I can. You guys know the deal. When you get super busy, notifications stack up and you miss a couple conversations. But, I just tell people, like during the webinars or even on my videos, just shoot me a message, man. And, I might not reply in the next 5 minutes, but I'll get back to you. That's the whole thing.
Sure.
For the app, we've answered a lot of questions after the webinars and during the webinars, so that everybody just has that core concept of what it is and how to look at it. From there, we just said use it. Give it a week, pop it open 2-3 times a day, and let us know what you think. So we're getting that feedback now, which is really nice, and it's all been positive. People are posting the before and after on the trend and when they hopped in on the trade and what kind of gains they got or the reason why they opened the chart. So all that feedback has been really good, and people are starting to recognize by using it, what sort of block patterns they're looking for. And we're working, we're working on a bunch of things, but we're working on some type of cheat sheet that'll say, I use a 4x4, which I explained in the webinar, but it's basically four light pink on the shorter time frames with 4 light green on the longer time frames. And that gives me that, pullback scenario where I say, all right, this is on my watch list. I start seeing dark green, in the longer time frames and dark pink, now I'm in balance, right? So now I'm going for pullback time.
Sure.
Yeah, I think that cheat sheet would be very good for everybody in the community, especially people that are new to the scanner. Some people I know don't have time to or want to sit through an hour-long webinar. Very impatient. I did watch your whole webinar. I thought it was very good and easy to follow.
Appreciate it.
But some people, they just want the shortcut. So
Right.
having that cheat sheet saying, this is what we ideally look for: the 4 pink, the 4 green. That would be very helpful, I think.
Yeah, we are working on it. We're behind the scenes getting that together. So that'll be something that I hope will help a lot of people. But we don't want to. I don't know how to say it the right way, but we do want them to do a little legwork.
Right.
We want them to open the chart and say, this is what I saw with the 8 boxes, and this is what I see when I open up the chart.
Right.
And let them develop patterns, for themselves. But that being said, yes, we are working on some things that'll sort of sweeten that up a little bit and eliminate some of the thinking.
You
Right.
can't just rely on the tool. You have to still use risk management. You have to go
Yes.
into the trade with a plan, have a predetermined stop loss in case it doesn't work out,
Right.
realistic profit target. I mean, you can't just blindly follow the scanner and expect to get
Right.
profit.
It's all of that. And we want to protect people, and we want to make sure they know that, so, don't, this is to save time and open up a chart of interest. That is the real beauty, is the time saver. One is the gold. Opening up a chart that may be of interest, as opposed to opening up 10 charts where it's just ranging and nothing's happening, and I'm wasting my time going through, well, what's going on the 1? Well, what about the 4 hour? Well, what does the 12 look like? Let me hop open to the daily. That was all wasted time. You know what I'm saying? I would have had all that information in a glance, and I wouldn't have needed
I know.
because
I spend hours every day looking at charts.
Yeah. So
I understand the value of the tool.
If I'm looking at any particular chart, I rifle through all the important time frames because I want a good idea of what's happening in the long term. What's the overall, what's the weekly telling me? And then I'm going to dive in deeper and deeper and deeper, depending on what I'm looking for. Am I looking for an entry, or am I looking for, micro trends inside a larger impulse? But that takes a lot of time, and I might spend 10, 15 minutes on one chart that has no trades, that has no setups. And instead of measuring out those impulse moves myself and, just grabbing the tool and dragging it down, saying, oh, it was 18%, whatever, let me calculate back. It was about 4 or 5 days. I get that right here. And I sort it right here. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so I don't need the noise. I just hit
really helpful.
And then I say, okay, well, that's a chart that I want to look at. That's it. It's that simple, where, you save all that time. But you look at better quality, I guess I should say, charts that at least have a bigger possibility of having some type of trade that you can get into. And if not, if you don't see it right away, even after you've seen that, you just move on to the next one. You don't have to dive real deep into it. All the trend information is already there. Now all the RSI information is already there. So you have advanced knowledge before even opening the chart.
Yeah, it's awesome. Anything else before we close up? We're like hour and 40-ish minutes podcast.
No, it felt like 5 minutes, but
it was good. I mean, it's like dynamite information across the board. I'm like, frankly, I'm anxious to sit and play with it. So,
Good. No, man, just we are very excited. We're very passionate. We're in the community. We are, the guy right next to you at the meetup. You see me there. That's who we are.
You guys do any meetups, or you got anything planned with training?
For me, I'm in Austin. So there's a handful of meetups that are already here. There is a Bitcoin conference that they do once a year. I was at last year. I won't be around for this one because I'm moving. So now, for me, I have to start looking at what's in North Carolina, what's in the area that I'm moving to, and if there's nothing, I'll start it. I'll run it myself. I like to be around like-minded people. I don't know what your family situations are, but I'm not gonna talk crypto to the dog and my fiance take care. So to be in tune with people, this is why we could talk about something for an hour and 40 minutes, and it's no big deal. Because I'm passionate about it. You guys are passionate traders. I can see that. So it's a matter of having that passion, understanding that there's either a fundamental problem, which for us would be time, or the time wasted, and the realization that something could be done about it. We can make this tool, and we can let people use it. And the idea would be, you guys are all saving time. We're all saving time together. And now we're looking at consistent trends that we can bounce off of each other. Hey, did you see the 4-buy on, whatever, on hot BTC? Like, oh yeah, I saw that. All right, big impulse. But this way the conversation is it's a healthy trading conversation where You guys know the toxicity all over the place on social media.
Yeah.
So, we try to stay out of that, but we want to try to bring more innovative tools and maximize the efficiency of every trader out there. Any trader that's willing to pick it up and give it a good, honest try, I don't see them not finding it useful. I really don't. And that's my personal opinion. And that's the feedback we've been getting from the people that have used it for that week. And it's good, man. It's really good. It's so far 2 modules of many more that are coming. And I really do think it's a game changer across the board for crypto. I think crypto really needed something like this.
Yeah,
I agree. I've been saying it since 2017. I don't need the scanner because there's 1,000 coins. And the way I did it before was just going down Binance one by one, searching it. And that's how I taught people, this is how I build a watch list. And that's pretty much what we had to work with until now, where hopefully this makes it a little bit faster.
Matt, that's a really good point. I've been set up so long, I forgot how long it took me to get set up. I didn't really even think about that because I've already just absorbed that time. But I probably spent the better part of 3 weeks to really get my watch list how I wanted it. And that was a matter of, getting the XLs, straight from Binance, just on those pairings, other exchanges to get them straight on through TradingView, so that I have that full watch list. From there, catering which ones I wanted to trade, which ones I had charts on, which ones were actually moving, which ones were small cap, right? Which ones were, majors. It was a big deal, and it took a lot of time.
I know.
And you guys know the deal with crypto, it moves so quick. That by the time I set it up, it was worthless.
Well, I used to do one every week for the pro group. I would go and do a video like this, sharing my screen. After I did the research and drew up all my pretty charts, I would pick 3 to 5 coins every week that I was watching. And that's what would be on the watch list. I did the same thing every day when trading stocks, because there's so many different coins. If you aren't focused on knowing, okay, this chart pattern meets my criteria, this one meets my criteria, everything else is just noise, ignore the rest, you'll do a lot better.
Right. Yeah. So, you know that pain. And luckily, since then, since I realized it was a waste, I stopped and I just went with, one watch list that are coins that I've charted. That's it. So if I've showed interest in it at one point, I'm going to cycle through it. And that's what I do. That's what I used to do every weekend was, I slap that space bar and I'd say, what's happening? And I'd take a look at the weekly, the daily, and probably the 4. And I'd say, there's nothing shaking. Hit the space bar again. The weekly, the daily, the 4, nothing shaking. Next one. And that hours I would spend doing that. And now, now I wake up and I'm like, what's moving? What happened? 1 day, 3 days, 7 day? What are we looking at? 60% gain, 40% retrace? Okay, that's worth me looking at. Trend is up, slight pullback in lower time frames. All right, that's something I could be interested in. Oh, we got a big bullish move on the 5, the 15, and 30, but we're still in a downtrend, heavy downtrend on the 12 and the daily. That's great. That's a rip right now. I go in short, short resistance. So these are things that I could do immediately, and my workflow, or at least my chart flow, or whatever you want to call it, is a game changer. It's just been a total, lifesaver. And by life, I mean breathing new life into the day, instead of this. Okay, you got daily 4. Oh, nothing going. Space 1. Okay. No. I mean, I felt like a zombie at some points.
Sure.
Cool. All right. Well, it was great having you on the show, Chingas.
Appreciate it.
We're really excited for Trading Room app, and we hope to be, we're going to be supportive of you guys and use your products in our community and refer you guys over, because I think what you guys are doing is pretty great.
That's fantastic. Well, yeah, fantastic. That's the right word. Well, that's really good, man. Let us let us know. We already got some of your feedback already from just talking now. So, yeah, just let us know how it's going, and if it can be improved, how, and we'll take it from there. We're going to keep pumping out some more modules and do some more training, and we'll try to get this community into a better trading situation than before.
Sounds good. Appreciate it, man.
All right, Kurt, Matt, thank you so much, guys. Take care.
Thank you.
Thank you.
See ya.